Growing up as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you'll go through a lot, and I mean a lot, of cringe. There's gonna be a lot of times where you cringe. There's gonna be so many things that are weird and annoying, and that's just gonna send shocks down your spine because the organization really is and lacks self awareness. It is something else sometimes. I know personally growing up, there were so many brothers and sisters and so many things that they've said and so many things that I've seen in the organization as a PME that really made me not only cringe but really just like doubt and just see the cracks in the wall and see writing on the wall and see how weird this organization really is. And it isn't until you step back and take a sideline view of it and you really can see it for what it is. It's just so many things. So we're going to talk about some of the things and just personal experiences that make me cringe, and this might be part of a series of like things that made me cringe as a PME or things that made me cringe as a Jehovah's Witness, because it's honestly, there's a lot of things. So number one was dress and grooming. Okay, so all these images we're about to see, they are all from jw.org articles that I picked out. This image here is literally like the personification of how Jehovah's Witnesses viewed grooming, dress and grooming. Okay, and honestly, that's not a thing that people say, dress and grooming. That's like a very much Jehovah's Witness term. Either way, Jehovah's Witnesses, they believe you're either one or two. You're either a Jehovah's Witness, well groomed, you got a suit, you got a tie, neutral colors, you have a good stand, you've got good posture, or you're this guy on the right with tats and jewelry. Oh no, two wristbands, and he's got headphones and a cap that's slightly turned, and he's got ripped jeans, and a skull on his shirt. The horror. Oh no. This is so cringy because literally everybody dresses up that way. The Jehovah's Witnesses take a biblical principle of modesty, and they make it to the extreme. Now, witnesses not only are discouraged from wearing shirts with logos and big images on it, although even as a PME I still wore those because there's nothing else to wear, but they also discourage what we see here, the ripped jeans, which is such a minor problem. It's such a nitpick. Literally, you're showing so little skin. It's not sexualized, yet they feel the need to tell you what to wear and everything. I know one time we had in our house the circuit overseer, and my family would always love to feed the circuit overseer, especially after their last visit, like, the last visit of the week on the Sunday. They'd come to our house because usually they didn't have any plans. So they come to our house, and one time I forgot what I was wearing. After the meeting, I changed into comfortable clothes, and I put on a Dragon Ball Z shirt, and the CO gave me the biggest side-eyed glance I had ever seen. I felt like he was going to chew me out or something, and he was a pretty neutral CO. He was pretty nice, but I felt the hostility through his eyes from where I was seated. And if I'm not mistaken, he even asked me, "Hey, what's that shirt?" And I said, "Oh, it's from a show called Dragon Ball Z." And then I think he asked something akin to "Oh, do you think it's okay to wear that? Or you think that shirt's okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I watched this show forever. I even watched it with my dad." So, I really didn't pay much attention to what he was saying or what he was getting at. I'm also pretty oblivious. I'm a pretty oblivious person in real life, But yeah, he was giving me an ugly look. My whole family, this dress thing has been such a problem. And as a witness, what I got down to at the end, because all these new rules started coming out at the end of my quote-unquote spiritual career as a Jehovah's Witness, as a PME. And what it came down to was this. Does the Bible specifically say, "Thou shalt not wear ripped jeans"? No. Okay. Then it is a matter of conscience. conscience, which is what all things should be, a matter of conscience. The Bible says that in Leviticus, if I'm not mistaken, Leviticus 8 or 10, I can't recall, but it says there, which is a principle that a lot of witnesses take, is, it says you can't have markings on your body, so no tattoos. Okay. Well, literally a verse or two after that, it says that you shouldn't shave your beard. So are we taking that same stance on it? No, it's a principle. Okay. So you principle one thing, but not another. And that's just not how spirituality works. And if it works that way to you, then you can see how others don't follow that. Because it's very one-sided. It is very inaccurate. So this dressing grooming thing is super cringe. It honestly hurt me as a witness because you already have limited options. I couldn't go out wearing a Korn shirt. I couldn't go out wearing a shirt of Metallica. I had to really be cautious already what I was wearing. And then all this on top of that is just a headache. Super cringe. Next. Donations. Now, donations has always been an issue from what I've seen. I know that it has been an issue more recently since JW Broadcasting became a thing. They really start pushing this recently. As a child, I would always give, a couple of dollars here, a couple of dollars there. And then later, as I, got into my jobs and started working regularly, I would do a regular donation of, in the beginning, I would do $10 for the local congregation and $10 for the worldwide work. I never did any of the other stuff. And then later, the most I got to was $20 for the local congregation and $20 for worldwide work. Regularly, it would just be like auto draft, like when you're paying a bill, it just come right out of your credit or debit card or whatever. So it's always been a thing, but it's more an issue now. When I was at the meetings, I was at one point the account servant. And I had done that a couple times in different congregations. I was the account servant, and I was pretty damn good at it. Yeah, I had a mistake here or there, but it was usually a $1 or $2, no more than a $10 discrepancy. It really was minor issues with what I had. It was the books were solid, but sometimes when we'd go to check the amount we had, like in the boxes, it really wasn't that much in there. Some people were just not donating, and we'd be in the negative at the end of the month, depending on the congregation. So if it was the English congregation, many brothers and sisters would use the online donations and do the in-person, and some of them even left checks with me, and I had to get take a picture and show it to the elder, get it signed. Like, I couldn't just take a check and go, So I had to check my books and balances, all that. I was pretty good with that, with keeping record of everything. But in the Spanish congregation, not only did the brothers not do the online donations, but many weren't even doing the physical one. Like, it would be sad and dry. Like, some nights we'd have $2. I'm pretty sure there's been a night or two where we had nothing, no donations, other than a few pennies or dimes that were left in there by some kids. So this whole donation thing is super cringe because the organization pushes and pushes and pushes, and brothers still weren't donating at the end. And I would tell the elder, and I feel stupid about it now, but I would tell the elders, hey, listen, there are nights where we're not getting a dime. We need our local needs. And then, they'd mention at the end of the meeting or the local needs, brothers, don't forget, why is it so important to do donations? Well, look what it says here, value, spiritual treasure, whatever. They quote a 1999 Watchtower. They quote their own stuff, why they should donate. Giving freely, some text like that. But either way, this is an issue depending on the congregation. Some brothers simply aren't donating, and I don't blame them. I mean, I didn't want to donate. I'm not rich. I need my money. Why give it to this? I agree. Good. I'm glad they weren't donating. So, super cringe. Next. Informal witnessing. Oh my god. I used to do gas station witnessing. And if you don't know, gas station witnessing is super, super cringe sometimes because, you're not going to fill up your tank. So you kind of just parked at a pump or maybe at the front of a gas station or at the side, and you would wait for somebody to either come in, come out, or somebody in the middle of pumping their gas, and you'd walk up to them, and the last thing on their mind is religion, right? Or Armageddon or something. And you go up to them and you give them a card or something, a JW.org, a contact card or a tract. I usually gave the, Will the Dead Live Again tract, or, the website tract. I can't remember Who Controls the World, one of those. And oftentimes people would take it. It was a good 50-50, but it definitely was very forced. It's not natural. It's not a way you open a conversation. One time I was at a gas station, and of course, as you know, I was in the Spanish congregation, in between Spanish and English sometimes, depending. So I was in the Spanish congregation, and this group of, obviously construction workers, they've got dust on their pants, paint, they've got, their hands are calloused with the work that they did. They'd be getting out of their car to get, who knows what, hot dogs or something, and then I'd go up to them and talk, and I try to make it natural, so I would say, how are you guys doing, what work you do? Okay. And I go, can I see, do you have a card you can give me? And then they give me their business card, and then in turn, I would give them my contact card. So, I mean, and then they would look at him like, this kid, he's just trying to sell us something. He's here selling his religion. And honestly, that's what it was. That's what I was doing. It was just selling religion. So, super mega cringe, informal witnessing. And that's just one experience. I have more, but that's just the one that is off the top of my head. And lastly, for this video, is just preaching in general. It's super cringe. Okay, so this picture here from the society makes it look really nice, like, oh, preaching is so calm and relaxing, and you can go out with your wife if you get married, as a witness. But in reality, preaching is anxiety inducing, it's stressful, you gotta wake up early, you gotta prepare with something, it doesn't mean, most witnesses aren't very good at preparing, but you prepare something, usually on the car ride, or 10 minutes before preaching, or, while one brother's at the door, you prepare your, your introduction in the car. But, I mean, just like to give one example, when I was one time preaching with a brother, we were both ministerial servants. We knock on a door, and in the inner city, in the inner part of where we live, so more like urban than the rest of the area, more densely populated, a man comes out, an African American man, and he literally was ready to go with a topic of conversation. So we introduced like a tract or something, and he immediately is like, don't you know, you witnesses don't read the book of Apocrypha or whatever it was, like this offshoot of the Bible. And I even Googled it, and this book is weird, but apparently it's part of, it's not part of the biblical canon, but some consider it to be part of it. And he was part of the Islamic Brotherhood, I believe is what it's called. So it's like these African Americans, these black Americans that have these beliefs that, Abraham was white or black, and his brother Esau was not Abraham. Yeah, was it Jacob? No, Jacob and Esau is what it was. So Jacob was black and Esau was white, or vice versa. I don't recall what it was, but basically a lot of the scriptures had to do with race and nationality with them. And I'll never forget, at one point he points at me and he says, look at him, he's, basically saying, I was white. And I go, no, I'm Hispanic. I mean, yes, my skin is white, but like, I'm not white Caucasian, I can tan. And it's very odd to try to explain, these beliefs. Like, in your head growing up, you never connect race with that story of Jacob and Esau and Abraham. Like, it just never fit in my head. I know I also said that Esau was had thick hair. He was very hairy. And that his hair was as thick as wool, that Jesus's hair was as thick as wool. They took a scripture in Revelation. So it's very odd. And the way we ended it was, So towards the end, because he wouldn't let us go, we were there with him for like a good hour and a half at least. His wife, who was this Asian woman, who according to him, Asians were like an inferior race. These are not my opinions, by the way. These are all the conversation I had with him. He said something about Asians not being going to go to heaven. I don't know what it was. Something like that. Something really funky, weird. His Asian, probably Laotian, because where we live, there's a lot of Laotians. Girlfriend or wife starts recording us, and then he pulls out the book of Apocrypha or whatever it was and reads something weird to us, and then we're like, listen, we gotta go. Our car group is over there, so we'll see you another time. And then he's like, okay, please do. And then we just never went there ever again. I was not going to deal with this race war of a man. You know, I mean, I tried to respect everybody's beliefs, but those beliefs were insane. Wild. And you know, as a witness, especially in as many years as I was, you get a lot of experiences. That's just one that I think about very often because of how ludicrous it was. So again, preaching in and of itself is just cringe. Super cringe. And this is just one video. I might do more and make this a series. Many things about being a witness is a cringe, and these are just some of them. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to check the links down below for the Twitter and whatever other social medias I got. Don't forget to hit subscribe, like, and hit the notification button to get, alerted whenever I upload a video. And videos every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Take care. Have a good one.